Morning. My name is Amrith. I currently head product and analytics at Matt Street Den. How many of you know Matt Street Den? Anyone at all? Okay, nice. We are an AI company. I wouldn't call us a startup anymore. We've been around for about 10 years as a company and about 8 years with customers doing multiple things in AI. We started off in retail, but now have graduated into building an AI platform that is essentially scalable across things like retail, finance, healthcare, etc. I joined the company about 8 years ago, like ma'am said. When I joined, we were about 14 people, and we're about 300 now. So across the 8 years, I've done a bunch of things, including starting the first product that we had, moving on to, starting the program management office, then moving on to product, after which moved to sales for a bit, and back now into doing a mix of product and analytics. So that's a brief of what I do. The session today, and this is the second time I'm doing it after last year, is about, and I think what is there in the agenda that you've been given is a business model canvas, right? Now, the business model canvas is a tool at the end of the day, right? The business model canvas is simply a tool that is going to, if done right, is going to help you define your business, right? And and once that is completely filled up, the idea is that it gives you a starting point of where you are and what you're going to do. It will not give a complete picture of how, but then it will directionally tell you how you're potentially going to do something, right? If that sounds nebulous, it is meant to be. Business model canvas is not the answer, but it is a starting point to many more questions that you might have. So don't think of the outcome of this session as you have your life sorted out. It's not, right? It is a direction to getting to where you need to be or where you want to be. Does that make sense? Cool. So I'm going to handle this slightly differently, as opposed to probably giving you this is the business model canvas, this is how you do it, right? Sort of taken a slightly different approach to it by essentially deconstructing what that means, right? And to start that, this doesn't work, sorry. So cool, sorry. So before we begin, right, very quickly, team introductions. I've been sent the list, but I'd want to hear from you guys, just a couple of minutes each, if that's okay, or even a minute each. Just introduce yourselves, what your company or your idea is all about, and we'll take it from there.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm Chitralekha. She is Dr. Marishwari. We are from Karotimam Innovations Private Limited. We are currently in sustainability business. We make solutions for printed electronic industry. They are sustainable green solutions, and yeah, we are right now at bootstrapping.
Bootstrap. Okay, thank you.
Hi, I'm Subhash Anand. I'm an analyst from IIT Madras, right now working as a scientist in Government of India in medical devices. So we work in artificial internal organs for the treatment of heart attack. So we work in transferring the technology to industry and license it and generate royalties. So that is our business model. So today I came for presenting one of our work on cardiovascular devices called stents for treatment of heart attack. Yeah.
Hi sir, this is Ram Kumar, Dinesh and Sasi. We are from Prediscan Medtech Private Limited. We are recently incubated in IIT Madras. So we are doing at Prediscan, we are building an ecosystem for through a web platform for the eye care professionals, where they can upload and capture the retinal images. They can predict each and every decision in the eye diseases for preventing the blindness.
I see. So you're using computer vision of some sort.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Hi sir, I'm Sujit from Sri Sairam Engineering College. We are using marine technology like underwater ROV. So we are building it, sir.
Got it.
Hello, I'm Rakesh from Diverse Technologies. We are incubated at IIT Madras Research Park in HTAC only. So we are developing a tactile graphics display for the visually impaired to enable them to access for increased accessibility for the education and jobs, because the graphics, diagrams, they are primarily designed for the visually capable for, and science, maths, the STEM field is purely visually intensive at the moment. So we are aiming to change that by designing a um, affordable tactile display so that they can access those diagrams easily.
Got it. Cool. Thank you.
Good morning. We are Reflow Technologies Private Limited. Myself Shakrish, he is Rajkumar, and my good friend Vishnu. So we are into deep tech startup where we provide industrial solutions for chemical industries, petrochemical, pharmaceuticals in both hardware and software solutions. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Chevy and he's Dharmik. We are from startup Yotu Energy, incubated at IIT Madras. We are working on the cold chain sector. So for transportation of any perishable good, be it agriculture or critical things like pharma, we are making electric AC unit for those trucks, replacing with existing diesel-based AC units.
Hi, this is Dr. Srija. This is Dilip and this is Selva Kumar. We are from CDEX Energy. It's a green electricity generating startup from Ocean Wave. We are bootstrapped and we have a promising prototype as well.
Hello, sir. So this is Meena. Here.
Oh, hi. Sorry.
Okay, so this is Meena. He's Madan, my teammate actually. So we are from Femicura Healthtech. So this is a company which is incubated by Venture Center Pune, and we are into healthcare domain. So we are making a device so that can help the that can provide the fertility treatment in a very hygienic manner. So it's especially for the women. We are working on it, and we are also developing a device for cervical imaging also.
Okay. Interesting.
Hello, sir. I'm Mayank. She is Pavitra and has Kaushik. We are from Institute Micram. We are incubated in IITM Research Park. And we do make miniaturized mechanical testing machines, like replacing the conventional large-scale testings to making it accessible to everyone and at a miniaturized scale. Yeah.
Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Mohan, I am from Zera Aerospace. So we are making a fleet of drones for drone logistics. So we want to enable by using unlocking aerial mobility to have parcels delivered to our customers in less time and less cost. That's what we have been working on. Thank you.
Okay.
Hello everyone, good morning. I am Vibhor and he is Lokesh. We are graduates from IIT Madras itself, and we are from Aerodome Technologies Private Limited, and we are working on drone and swarm technology for different applications like defense, NDRF, surveillance, entertainment and logistics as well. So yes, thank you.
Cool. Thank you. Is that everyone?
It's completed.
All right, cool. Thank you for that. Now that we broadly know who's who. The next thing that I don't, you guys, sorry. I'm a huge fan of Dilbert, right? Scott Adams might be cancelled and all that, but Dilbert's humor still stands. So it will be interspersed with things like this. Just have a look at this. I'm going to leave you with this. Okay? Okay? All right, I'm going to move on. This is what I want you to do now first. Does everyone have a pen and paper? Every team, not every person. Every team is good enough. Just a small piece of pen and paper and pens. Actually, no, sorry. Every person on the team. Can you simply, in the next 1 minute, write down in 20 words or less what constitutes success for you guys? Not personally, through the venture and the company that you're trying to do. Do not consult each other. Do it individually. If you guys don't have a piece of paper, please ask. We will get one to you. It's 20 words or less, so yeah. Super small, keep it to the point. I want every person to write it individually. Every person. You guys are all playing different roles in the companies and the ventures that you're starting. What does success to you mean? Do not consult each other. Can you guys write it individually, please? I'll give you a minute. Once you're done, just fold the piece of paper, write your name and the name of a company, and just pass it along. There are no right and wrong answers. Actually, there are no right answers. Right? So, write what you think success is to you through the lens of the company. 20 words or less, no essays. It could be one word, it could be 20. I leave it to you guys. Write it, fold the piece of paper with your name and your company. Just once you're done, just pass it along. Guys, do it individually. Just pass it along. Once you're done, just pass it along. Whoever is done, just pass it along. All right. Are you guys done? Thank you. Thank you. All right, is everyone done? Guys, you have a minute. Come on. It's 20 words. Is anyone yet to give it? Everyone's done? Defining success should not be this hard, no? Mitigating circumstances of non-availability of pen notwithstanding, success should not be this hard to define, no? But you could have just put like dollar and left it at that. Could have, I don't know, or world peace or something. You have everything? Cool, please keep it there. Awesome. We're not going to get to that yet. Don't worry about it. We're not going to read it to the class and all that. Okay. Now we begin. Before we begin, 2 ground rules. 1, do not call me sir. I have not been knighted yet. So if I am, please call me. I am not yet. The second, get off mute, which means talk. This is not going to be a monologue. This is not going to be me telling you things. This is participatory. Every single point of this is meant to get ideas from everyone. So make sure that you don't keep quiet. If you keep quiet, I could say that you are the one losing out and all. But no, if you keep quiet, I'm going to point you guys out. So you might as well, right? Okay, now we begin. Let's start with, what is a business? Business model canvas. Okay. What is a business? Get off mute. Getting money from a customer. Okay. Sorry, creating wealth. Okay. Getting a target customer. Okay. Selling is a business. Okay. Offering a solution. Okay. Creating value. Okay. Monetizing transactions. Okay. If there is a paying customer, there is a business. Okay. Supply and demand makes a business. Okay. Does supply and demand make a business or a market? Okay. Profit. Making wealth out of solutions. Okay. Creates intellectual capabilities into money. Human resources to physical resources. What about software products? Okay. Okay, fair enough. Any other definitions of what a business is? Sorry? Solving a man's problem and taking his money is business. Okay, fair enough. Anything else? Okay, so broadly, this is the dictionary definition of business, right? It refers to an organization or enterprising entity engaged in commercial, industrial, or professional activities. It's broadly in line with what all of you were saying, right? The purpose of a business is to organize some sort of economic production. That's paraphrasing pretty much what all of you said. The other way to look at this is, how many of you have read, how many of you are from operations? Anyone from operations? How many of you have read The Goal by Eliyahu Goldratt? Anyone? The Goal? No? Okay. Essential reading, everyone should read it. Goldratt simply says the rule of the firm. A firm exists to make money. Right? So at the end of the day, whatever business you're doing, it could be trading, it could be manufacturing, it could be services, it could be anything at all, right? At the end of the day, it has to culminate in sales. Now, sales is one part of it, collection is the other part of it. But essentially, whatever economic unit of production that yours is, it could be a physical good, it could be a piece of software, it could be somebody's time. Any of this is the economic unit of essentially what can be, for the lack of a better word, traded. Traded for, in most cases, money. Right? Sometimes it could be money, sometimes it could be equity, it could be whatever of those things. But the fact is that a business exists to make money. So everything that you guys are doing ultimately, saying, I want to develop this, I want to do this, I want to do this, your end result might be, you want to solve the world's problems, but to start and to continue, you need to essentially establish that you are a creditable business that somebody can invest in. That somebody could be people who are investors who are giving you money, it could be people from incubation cells, it could even be your customers who are giving you money to develop your product. It could be any of those. But the fact is that at the end of the day, there has to be an economic benefit to it. Otherwise, it's not a business. Right? Let's take the decision, just a couple of minutes more. In this definition of it, is a non-profit organization a business? Yes. Are there no's here? I saw you saying no. It is? But does it make money? Tangible? No. No one is going to give you money on intangibles. People only give you money on tangibles, unless they are your family. So,
I think it still makes money, but then the shareholders cannot take profit, like in a non-profit.
Sure.
I mean, it really depends on the entity that.
So it's still a business, right?
Yeah.
Cool. So, simple thing. don't equate profit to business. Profit is the outcome that businesses need or want. But a business is still there to make money. Even if it is a loss-making entity, it is still an entity that is a business. So you just want to get things that very, very clear out of your head, right? Which is, business does not mean it makes profit. Most venture-funded companies, until a very late stage in their venture process, actually lose money. And that's the way that the ecosystem is set up, because they're, they're sort of focusing on growth, etc. But the point is that there is a subtle or a fundamental difference between profit and revenue. And a business essentially first starts at making revenue, after which you look at profits, etc. All right, so let's look at what broadly constitutes a business, right? And in a sense, it's only four things, right? There's the offering, which is what exactly are you giving? And we'll get into the details of all of this. The customers, the infrastructure around it, and we'll come to what that is. And the fourth one is the market. Some combination of all of these four things is essentially what comes to define any business, right? So let's start by talking about what the offering is. So the fundamental question that we have to ask is, what is your offering, right? Can somebody translate this to easier words? It could be in the context of your thing, or actually no, let's do this. Everyone here is familiar with Apple as a company. What is Apple's offering?
So it's giving the complete ecosystem where it all
Apple's offering is an ecosystem. Is that your answer? Okay. What are the other answers? Security is their offering. Okay. Social value, Apple. Okay.
Social value as in like the way someone...
It's the most profitable company on earth.
No, social value, I don't mean social impact.
Ah.
I mean to say, as a customer, say if I own an iPhone, the way my social value... Like say,
So they are offering you social value. That's their offering.
no, okay. I mean, it's not... Yeah.
What is Apple's core product? Let's start there. What does Apple do? At the very base, what does Apple do? Phones. Okay. Phones for communication. What else?
Secure communication is what they are.
Do they offer the communication? Are they holding the phone lines? No. So they offer a way to do it. They don't offer the communication. Right. What does Apple offer? What is Apple's offering? If I ask you, you go to an Apple store, what do you see? Electronic devices. Okay. What else? Applications. Okay. What else? Set of features. Sure, that's the application part. Okay. Cloud. Okay, fair enough. Then user experience is part of the application. Fair enough. Okay. Brand. Do they offer you the brand, or is Apple the brand? Sure, but is that okay? Fair enough. Brand equity could be one of those things. Okay, then quality is their offer. You could say that their core offering is quality. Fair enough. Okay. All right. Devices, yes. Sure, okay. Improves quality of that's the outcome. What are they offering? Security. Okay. 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 Fair enough. What are they offering? This you guys are talking about outcomes. What are they offering? Solution. Okay. Means of communication. Okay. Simple, right? Apple has only two parts to it. There are the products and then there are the services. There are only two ways in which Apple makes money. If you buy a phone, if you buy an iCloud subscription, that is it. You say whatever tangible or intangible benefits there are, my friends are going to think I'm cooler, I have secure communication features. Apple does not make 1 paisa when you make a phone call. They don't. Airtel makes that money. Apple makes money only in two things. If you buy a device from them, whatever might be that device, a phone, a laptop, an iPad, whatever it might be, or if you buy a service from them, which is you're buying Apple Music, you're buying Apple TV, that Apple One, it doesn't matter. The fact is, Apple's offering essentially stops at two things. There is a product that Apple essentially designs and builds, and then there is the service that it offers. Some of the service is actually free. Their operating system is free. You don't pay for iOS, you don't pay for macOS. You get it with lifelong updates up to the life of the device with the product that you buy. So that's not their offering, which is, sure, it is their offering, but then it is not decoupled from the hardware. You cannot get iOS on an Android phone. Now let me flip it. What is Google's offering? Okay. Web services, okay. Product, okay. You said web services, you said product, what else? What else is Google offering? Sorry? Cloud, good, okay. Anything else? That comes under the services part. Also comes under. Sorry? Platform, what platform? It's part of the cloud, no? Okay. Android is what? What is it? Android is not an application. What is Android? It's a service. It's a software service, essentially, right? It's a software product. Call it a software product. Again, the fundamental difference between Apple and Google is actually that they're both offering services and products. The additional thing that Google has is it offers cloud as a service. What does it actually offer? What is cloud? What actually is a cloud? Data. What actually is, let's take AWS or Google or whatever one of these that you use, Azure for example. What are they doing and what are they abstracting? They're giving you data. They help you to store data. What are they abstracting? Data analysis. No, they're not abstracting data analysis. They're not selling data, no. I'm asking you about Google Cloud. Web servers, okay. But what are they abstracting? They are securing your data, no. How are they making money? No, how is Google Cloud or AWS making money? To what? APIs to do what? Virtual space, okay then. Sure, okay, but how are they making money? Not ads, I'm talking about Google Cloud. Let's talk about cloud. The other part is established. It is basically like Apple in that it's offering products and services. Only Apple's product business is far larger than Google's, but effectively they're the same thing. Google has ads and the whatever, that's fine. Look at the cloud business. Communication, no. So look at Google's ad business, cloud business, right? Or AWS's cloud business. What did they do? Before, if you needed cloud space, what did you have to do? You had to buy a bunch of machines and put them. What are they doing? They're simply taking the problem away from you. They buy it and they rent it out to you. That's all they've done. If you take a 30,000 foot view of it, they have taken two parts of what all computing is all about. There is storage and then there is compute. They have abstracted that such that there is no capital cost involved in getting started. Google or AWS for that matter, right? Or Azure for that matter. You to start a company, how many of you, I know that you guys said you're doing some computer vision, right? Are you on AWS or Google? No, sorry, who said they're doing things, computer vision based stuff? What, are you guys on AWS? Are you guys on AWS, right? What is AWS doing? If AWS wasn't there, the only way you could have gotten started is if you had access to that, right? But now you can just create a free account, get some credits and get started. What are they doing? They sort of taking off this entire concept of you having to buy hardware and provision it and do things like that, right? They can give you bare metal, they can give you managed services on top of it. But all of it is, the abstraction is essentially taking away hardware and making it a service. Right? So their offering in that space is all about that. So if you want to scale up, you want to scale down, it's a button click, more or less, or a command, right? So the offering there is essentially, what exactly are you building? The simplest word or in simpler words, an offering is exactly what you're building. So this is a question that you guys need to answer and answer for yourselves, which is you are building X, but then there is ancillary around X, which you might or might not be building. Let's take an example of the App Store on Apple, right? At any given point in time, there are far more apps that Apple doesn't make than it does. And that's facilitated by something like an App Store. If any of you remember the first ever version of the iPhone, there was no App Store. Steve Jobs introduced the iPhone and said, these are the 6 apps that you get on it. Full stop. You'd have a browser, you'd have a music player, you'd have a this, you'd have a that's it. But the idea was always to open it up so that there is an economy built around it. So you guys have to decide what is your offering and what is around it. And at some point in time, you decide, okay, this is what I'm doing as a core. And then what goes around it. Think of it as concentric circles, right? This is what I'm doing at the core. This is what is ancillary around it. And this is the third party that goes even around it. And at some point, and the only way that you should be expanding is radially outward. You can't go out without starting at the core. Decide what your core is first, which means define your offering correctly. What is it that you're offering? And this requires focus. And as the very famous saying goes, right? Focus is as much as what you don't want to do as what you want to do. Very important to know that, right? Okay. The second question is why are you offering it? Right? And the other way to look at this is what problem are you solving? Why are you doing what you're doing? Let's take the Google Cloud example or the AWS example. They were doing it because they saw an economy where a bunch of small startups were having so many ideas, and the prohibitive cost to barrier to entry was hardware cost. And if that is the case, how are they trying to mitigate that problem? By abstracting that. Is the entire point of why cloud services even came. If that had not come, most of venture capital today that is given to companies would go in initial capital expenditure. And I'm sure you guys also know that because some of you are doing hardware based stuff. So how much do you actually procure upfront in terms of do you build machineries, do you do contract manufacturing, whatever that might be, right? And when you are making a business plan eventually to present it to whoever, that's a big line item. What is my money going towards? How much of it is CapEx? How much of it is OpEx? A cloud provider essentially has taken a lot of CapEx and made it OpEx. Simply by saying in your projections, you will say, I expect that my monthly Google Cloud bill is going to be X $1,000, as opposed to I need $50,000 upfront to buy this type of servers, this type of GPU, this level of scaling, etc., etc., etc. Right? So that's broadly the problem that they have tried to solve. The third question you need to ask is what else is out there? In other words, what are you up against? Right? And this is very important. What are you up against? Is a question that you need to define, because that's at some level also how you're defining what you are and also what you're not. Does that make sense? Any questions? And I think the final part of this is the fourth part of your key part of your offering. Why should somebody take your offering over something else? Right? And the other way to look at this is what is your unfair advantage? Can anyone here tell me what your unfair advantage is? Your personal unfair advantages? In your own, what you're trying to do? Or okay, let's keep it generic. What is Apple's unfair advantage? Why do you think they continue to be successful? So their unfair advantage is their brand, you're saying. Okay. Quality. Why is that an unfair advantage? Other people can make quality. There are enough quality products. Is quality the only reason that somebody is buying Apple? Are people not doing privacy? Okay, now we're getting somewhere. Nice. What about the ecosystem? So what do you call that? Sure, but those are all features. What do you call that? Once you get into the ecosystem, difficult to get out. No. The fact that once you're in the ecosystem, it's difficult to go out. Addiction.
They're providing almost everything we want, especially with so many few codes. They are essentially giving what we want.
Okay, again, let me ask you a different question. How many of you guys go to the grocery store to buy stuff or do Instamart or something like that? Most people, I hope. Some people, I hope. Okay. What brand of salt do you guys get? Tata. Everyone gets Tata? What did you say? Whatever is available. What? Okay, who said Tata? Fantastic. What happens if you don't get Tata salt? Why? Sure, but why? Why are you okay with buying something else and not Tata? Not emergency. Say you're going once a month. There could be differentiating factors. Tata could say we are the purest, most iodized, whatever salt. It could be a differentiating factor. If we don't have any alternative, fair. So the word is switching cost. You get Tata salt, you get some other salt. The switching cost for you is nothing. Both of them exactly cost the same, more or less, few rupees here and there. Not going to make a dent in your budget, not going to make any difference to you. You take one, switch it out for the other. In all likelihood, maybe the potency of that salt is less or more, but then you cook twice, you'll know, how much less or more to put. There's no switching cost. But if you look at something like you get into buying an iPhone, like what you're saying, right? You buy an iPhone, you say, oh, look how nicely this works with my AirPod, because if I just open my AirPod, it just connects magically, and then when I do it, I can find it wherever I am, etc. Okay, let me get an AirPod. Now I have these two, might as well get a Mac. And slowly, you're in the system, not just using the system, but also a large part of your data and your workflows are part of the system. Now, if I ask you to take one part of it out and say, for work, for example, you had to use Windows because your company mandated that you have to use Windows. You can't say no, but then that would not be your choice. It's because now your entire workflow is disrupted. You have a bunch of things that you knew how they worked without even you having to think about things. But now you have to rethink, okay, how do I do this? There's a break in my workflow, etc. Which means what Apple does, and Apple's unfair advantage, is the switching cost that it essentially enables. That's on the one side. The other side is obviously the things like technology, patents, etc., which it has made sure that other people cannot copy. So that's the other part of it. The third part of it is also the brand equity, the user base, etc., that has been built over time. I'll just come back to you. That has been built over time. That is not going to go away. So their unfair advantage is actually many dimensions. Make sense? Yeah. That is the company. If you build something actively, you are building an unfair advantage. By allowing, how many of you have seen this news story around this? There's this app called Beeper Mini. iMessage. Do you guys know iMessage? iMessage is the messages app on the iPhone, which if you do iPhone to iPhone, you get blue bubbles. If you do Android, you get green bubbles. So there's this app called Beeper Mini, which came recently, which tried to spoof and do a bunch of things. Apple shut it down. Is that competitive? No. But can it be, they can stand behind security and say this is not secure, and they'll find a way around it. But the fact is that by keeping iMessage lock-in, they are getting people to upgrade to iPhones from iPhones every year. It's not so much prevalent in a country like India, where WhatsApp is pretty much prevalent and it's cross-platform, but in the US it's a big thing. The whole idea is that the fact that they have built it like that is the unfair advantage. It's like, you guys know what a moat is? M-O-A-T. What is a moat? What is a moat in reality? What is a moat? Wall? Is it a protecting wall? So you see palaces and stuff like that. You have a palace and then you have a bunch of water around it on all four sides. That's called a moat. The only way that you can get in or out is when the drawbridge goes up and comes down. An unfair advantage is essentially a moat. What is the moat that you are building? So that you are controlling entry and exit. So you guys have to think about what is it that your unfair advantage is in this case. For example, if you want iMessage, there is no way other than to buy an iPhone or a Mac. These are the only two ways in which you can get an iMessage. That's it. If you want to use an Apple Watch, you cannot use it with Android. You just cannot. That's not the case with something like an AirPod, but you don't get the same experience. Right? Horses for courses, but as a company, obviously they want you to buy more, they want you to buy more often. That's the whole ethos of any company, of any business essentially, right? Does that make sense? Any questions? All right. So yeah, with that saying, this is your offering basically, right? So don't be this. Cool, tough crowd, all right. Okay. Let's go to the next part, which is the customer. First part, you've decided what your offering is, what your product is going to be. Very good there. Let's start with the customer, right? Who's your ideal customer? Who can pay the money, okay. Who has the need, okay. Who sees value is your ideal customer. If they see value and decide not to pay, the two are not necessarily, unfortunately the world doesn't work like that. I would wish it does, but no. Then sales would be much easier than what it is now. But yes, noted, they do see value in you, yes. Repeated customer is an ideal customer. Sure, okay. Decision maker, okay. Payer, sure, user, okay. Who's your ideal customer, right? Which is, you need three things to answer this. One, who are they? Like literally who they are. And there are exercises, I think you have something coming up in the next couple of days of how do you define an ICP. ICP is ideal customer profile. And there are, at least last year's program there was, I'm assuming it is there this year also. That will probably take you more in depth of how you zero in on a particular type of person who's going to buy. So typically you have a person who is the buyer and you also have a person who's an influencer. So the influencer might not necessarily be a buyer. For example, when we try and sell one of our products, the buyer is essentially a simple matter of whose budget is it. So if we are selling a platform, the buyer whose budget is the CTO, for example. But the influencer is probably the level 2, 3, 4 data scientist or the machine learning engineer who is going to use this platform. So they have to look at the platform, they say, okay, this satisfies all my needs, etc. You can go ahead with it. So the influencer will not be the person who signs on the contract, but will be the person who can potentially veto the contract. So again, I think there is going to be far more in depth about this, but broadly you need to understand who your ideal customer is. What is their need? How are you fulfilling their need? First of all, is it a need? Because it could be a need, it could be a want. Right? Not all products, first of all, are needs. Many are just wants. Like, you don't buy an Apple Watch, your life is not meaningfully going to get worse. But then you want to buy it. Apple wants you to buy it. Right? Something like that. The second part of it is how do you reach them? Again, I think there should be a session on this, on how do you do prospecting? How do you reach out to people? How do you do demand generation, etc., etc. And the third part is where do they belong? Where is nebulous because where can have many dimensions. Where can be geography, where can be which part of which industry are they in, etc., etc. So the idea is that you define all of these three things, and then what you get at the end of the day is your ideal customer. And after which you put the strategy of how do I reach them. They are here, this is the person, I know that they have this type of a need. An example, you want to reach people in the buying team of XYZ company that you think is a right fit for you. Once you have come to that decision, then you see, okay, can I reach out on LinkedIn? I know that these industry events are happening, let me go there, maybe I get to interact with them, etc., etc. That's the how. But this is first who. How do you identify who? Make sense? Questions? Good. So essentially you ask your what does this customer look like, which is first define them, right? Actually define them. Their life, their characteristics, their jobs. This person is, for example, in the example I gave, right? I would, as an influencer, I would say I want to give a demo to data science or machine learning engineers who are 3 years into their job, who typically now use a cumbersome set of Python notebooks, Jupyter notebooks, and you use the command line to do what they are doing, because the offering or the solution that I am having is a much nicer, better user experience type way of helping them do their job better, because I know that there is a problem. This person typically, is a millennial. They come into work at 10, 11, they stop work at 6, they do not want to work after that, etc., etc. The whole idea of defining an ICP is that you actually have to define that person or people, those people. Right? Again, I think there are exercises for this and sessions for this, but if not, there's a lot of literature that you can go read up. Okay? Questions? No? Okay. The
When you say ideal customer profiling means you want to map the customer segment with the value proposition we give, or
now the customers. No, that's all later. This is first, who is the customer?
Okay, so their ecosystem, their pain.
No, about them.
Their pain.
About them. Do they each? Do they wear shorts? I don't know. Do they wear glasses? Do they use Macs? Do they use Windows? You have to go to the level of who actually that person is to identify what they need. Like, are they millennials? Are they Gen Zs? Are they whatever, baby boomers, etc.? Because the way of working, what they do, their lifestyle, all of that actually depends on how you're going to approach them. Somebody who is 3 years into the company, you might know in general is potentially looking at going to the next step in their career. If that is the case, how am I enabling that person to essentially get an appraisal in their next appraisal cycle? It could be as simple as that question. How am I enabling them to be more successful? They all want to build models and impress, their bosses. How am I enabling or facilitating model building faster and easier for them? So actually, what do they want? What their likes are, etc., etc. After which you go to everything that you said, but you have to get down to the level of who it is that you are actually targeting. The flip question of the previous one, right? Why should they buy from you? On the previous offering side, you said what is your unfair advantage, which is what are you offering? But the customer side, if you flip the same question, it is how are you going to make them successful? Like, take advertising. Why do you think you should buy an Apple product? Security. You think that it's going to give you better security. Okay, let me take something a little more frivolous. Why should you get, or rather from, everyone knows Axe, the deodorant company. Why should you buy Axe? Freshness, okay. Fragrance, okay. Then long lasting, okay. Anything else?
Availability.
Okay, that's distribution. But why, from their advertising and all, why do you want to buy axe? Attract people. Yeah, no, why not, right? Look at their advertising. Look at things like axe. Look at things like there's this wild stone and things like that, right? It plays on, first of all, it's targeted at men for the most part. Let's get that very clear, right? Their ideal customer profile is a man. It's not a woman watching it. Very clear. In fact, women might even find it very distasteful. A lot of the way that people do their advertising. But they have realized that that is their customer profile. And they are advertising to that customer profile. Look at the way that they message it. Like, yes, you are instantly going to become more attractive. You are instantly going to become more macho or manly, for the lack of a better word, right? All of those are very calculated, clear decisions. You flip it and look at what advertising looks like for something like sanitary pads for women. Men don't even understand for the most part. Most men don't even understand. But women, when they're looking at that, they understand, because there is a certain problem of why they want, or what the problem with current sanitary pads are, etc. The point is that you speak to your audience, which means the word successful here, don't take it to be that they're going to make more money. It is successful in whatever your product is trying to do, right? If success for Axe deodorant is that I'm going to attract women, then that's success. If it is that I'm going to not have body odor for 6 hours, that's success. It doesn't matter, right? So whatever it is, that's the question you need to be asking.
So the benefits you're talking about or features?
Neither. How are you going to make them successful? I am going to make the user of Axe more successful by making sure that they don't have body odor for 6 hours. You can call it a feature, you can call it a benefit, it doesn't matter. How does it do that 6-hour fragrance locking thing? Could be anyone's guess. It doesn't matter to you. At the end of the day, what they are promising you is the value, which is what you need to figure out. What is the value of what you are trying to do, which is going to make the buyer of your product or service successful? Questions? Oh, okay. All right, if you guys don't know Dilbert, that's Dogbert. You should. So, all right, okay. The third part, let's come to infrastructure, right? What is your business model? From all that you know, what is the business model? The simplest definition. Yes, at the most simple way, how are you going to make money? But what are the constituents of that? First question, there are broadly 3 parts or 3 types of companies. One, are you an infrastructure driven company? Are you a customer specification driven company, or are you a product driven company? Can you guys give me examples of this? Let's start with product driven companies. Give me an example of a product driven company. Boat, the headphone brand. Yeah, okay, fair enough. Then
Infrastructure, you can say Google product and AWS.
Google product and AWS. Okay, what else?
So what is mean by this customer specific?
Yeah. Tootsie is what? No, which one? Which one of the 3? Customer specification. No, they're a product. Amazon is what? Amazon is infrastructure driven, not AWS, Amazon. Product, okay. So what is a customer specification driven company? Grocery, you have the grocery product which you are selling. So how is that customer specification driven? Axe is a product. Customer is telling you what product they want, but then you are selling the product. Zomato is what? Zomato is just a service. Zomato is a marketplace that is enabling facilitation between 3 parties. SAP is a product or a platform, whatever you call it. Lenskart is, again, they are selling glasses. What is the largest company in India market cap wise? Listed in the Indian Stock Exchange, I think. Tata what? Tata Steel, really? TCS. What is TCS? What is TCS? They're a software services company. Do they hold any IP? They do hold some, but that's not large. Simple. Everything that they do, they are doing for a customer specification, which is they're going, building something, coming out. It's purely what the customer needs. What they are actually offering is human potential. That's all they're offering, right? Vehicles. No, TCS. TCS, not Tata. TCS, not Tata as a group company. TCS, right? Is the second part of it. A customer asks you to do something. You're, say, for example, contract manufacturing. I don't know if some of you are going into that space where a customer comes and tells you, I will do this, I need this. You could be an R&D lab, you could be an actual fabrication unit, you could be in the hardware side, you could be something like a software service that you're starting up, you could have people, you could be an analytics services company, etc., etc. To be any of these things. But the fact is that you are working off of a customer specification. Once that is done, it is done. Construction, yes. What are you actually providing? You're providing labor. If you're a construction provider, you're providing labor. You're also, as part of the value added service, you're also sort of centralizing the ability to get all your raw materials, project management, so that everything is built in time, coordination, etc. But once that building is built, it's done. You move on to the next thing and then the next thing. Advertising to an extent, yes. If you take each ad as a unit, yes, it is. Because you are building, if you are an advertising agency, you fall under the second thing. Yes. Make sense? Questions? No. All right. The next part of what you need to ask yourselves is, what are your key resources? Right? Essentially, what do you need to get it done? The next part of it is, what are your key partnerships? Or the other way to look at it is, whose support do you need to get it done? Let's take Zomato. Somebody was saying Zomato. What would you say Zomato's core offering is? Sorry. I heard connecting local restaurants, delivery services to the customer, convenience. Okay, what else? Instant deliveries. Okay, for the sake of this conversation, let's look at food delivery. Let's confine Zomato to food delivery, or take Swiggy's food delivery. Either one, doesn't matter. What is their service? What are they offering rather? What is their offering? What is Zomato's offering?
Hotels or restaurants with the customer through the delivery process.
So what are they offering? They are offering a platform, marketplace. They are offering delivery partners. Are they offering that?
They are actually managing the delivery system.
Are they managing the delivery system?
Yes, through that algorithm, the
Are they managing it? If you don't get a delivery in time, are they managing literally that? Or is it done through the platform? Is somebody doing it through the platform as opposed to they managing it? Who has liability?
The platform has the liability.
If the restaurant doesn't make your food, you're telling me that the liability is with Zomato and not the restaurant. Zomato is essentially only a three-way marketplace. They give you a platform to create a three-way marketplace. You have customers on one side, you have the restaurants on the other on one side, and you have delivery partners on the third side. If they employ the delivery partners, then it's a two-sided marketplace, where what they are doing is providing logistics. But because they are not employing these people, they're all on contract and the whatnot, it is a three-sided marketplace. Zomato food delivery, that platform, is essentially giving all of these three people means to control their experience. The delivery guys essentially can go on the delivery Zomato app and say, yes, I am available now. I want to make this my last delivery, whatever it is. They have a bunch of features. The platform, the hotel or the restaurant gets to go and say, this is my menu. This is what I want to price it at. These are my opening hours. These are the coupons I want to give, etc., etc. That's the restaurant Zomato app. And then you have your Zomato app, which you log in and you'll see a list of restaurants and the whatnot. It's essential. If you look at the unit of data that flows through the entire system, it is an order. An order is placed by a customer on a restaurant's inventory, which has to be fulfilled, at which point some person has to be assigned to it to complete it. So at that point, the digital good, which is that digital order, gets converted to a physical good at the point at which the food is prepared. After which it is a physical thing. That has to be picked up by an actual person. So for example, if there was another version of Zomato which had no delivery but had only pickup, their liability stops with the restaurant saying, yes, I accept your order. After which you go pick it up, right? There's something called dot pay. I don't know how many of you have actually seen it. They have that option, which means that there's no delivery fee. They take a smaller cut for everything that comes onto the platform. The restaurant gets to keep more, etc. So to do this, what support does Zomato need? To do their operation, Zomato Food, what are the support that they need? In other words, what are their key partnerships? Cloud, okay. Delivery partners, then. Restaurants, then. Okay, maps basically. Nice, then. Restaurants, then. Customers are not their partners because customers are the who is going to buy, who is going to use the platform. So the partnerships will not be your customers. Correct, but they are not your partners. If you have an offering, a customer is not your partner. A customer is your customer. So they are going to pay you for your service. What partnerships do you need to offer your service? Okay, sure. Payment gateways, right? So you take every part of that chain and see what they need to do to enable that. That becomes your key partnerships. In other words, what support do you need to get it done? Because you cannot do everything. Investors are an important part of that because they're going to give you money to get started. Cloud providers are actually going to give you some of these services, etc., right? So that's basically the infrastructure part of it. Any questions on this so far? All right, now we come back to the last thing then, which is the market. What is your market? How do you define your market? The place where you sell, okay. B2B or B2C, okay. People see your product again and again, okay. Where do you get your revenue from? Okay, interesting. Place where customers and business meet, fair, then? Where the? Okay, okay.
So where the customers can meet their sellers or the providers.
Okay, so it's simply this, right, which is what somebody said. Where are you going to sell? If you're going to sell somewhere where customers aren't there, it's stupidity. But you can choose to sell there. Some people can choose to create a market. You can go somewhere where nobody is there, but then they will come there. Like take the first iPhone. There wasn't really a market for a mass market touchscreen phone of the quality that Apple did. There were other types of touchscreen phones which were resistive touchscreens, but you needed a stylus, etc. The fact that Apple went there created a market, and in 15 years today, most if not all phones are basically slabs of steel and plastic with glass on it. It's essentially that, right? So the first question is, where are you going to sit? The where can be multiple dimensions. Now the next question is, what is your competition? Right? So let me ask you guys this question. Who is Zomato's competition? Swiggy, okay. Uber Eats, okay. What is Apple's competition? And Android is competition for iOS. But does it sell iOS? Samsung could be a competition for? No, for what? What part of Apple? Devices, okay. What else? Any other parts of Apple than their competition? No, sure. There are Samsung, Google, OnePlus for their devices. What else is Apple's competition? Sorry? HP, Dell for the other laptops, that's fine. What else? For their services? Spotify for Apple Music, great. Then, okay. Play Store for the app, no, but that's tied to the OS, so you can't really say that is Google Drive for Apple One, okay, fair enough. All right, who is AWS's competition? Azure, IBM, Google Cloud, anyone who basically offers cloud infra. Who's Netflix's competition? Amazon Prime. Amazon Prime. Theaters, then TV, okay. YouTube. Any visual entertainment service. Any other answers? Reid Hoffman was asked, the CEO of Netflix, was asked this question a few years ago when Netflix is sort of plateaued now, so they're trying to find different ways of making money. But when it was on that rise, right, everyone was like, wow, you're eating your competition. What was his answer to what is Netflix's competition? His answer was, it's sleep. Because if you're sleeping, you're not watching Netflix. Why should it be a visual entertainment medium?
Because they started DVD selling and then when it went to online.
What difference does it make? If you're sleeping, you cannot be watching Netflix. The more you watch Netflix, the more likely you are to renew Netflix. That's it. The answer is, he defined his market such. All the answers that you guys said, Amazon Prime, this and these are wrong answers. But that's market definition. Every time Amazon.com has something like a 60% or 70% market share of US e-commerce market. Something like that, give or take. Right? Every time Amazon is called a monopoly, Amazon simply says one thing. E-commerce retail in the US is only 10% of all retail in the US. Even if I am 60% of e-commerce retail, I am 6% of retail. I am a retailer, I am not an online retailer. Walmart has something like a 50, 60, 70% of retail share. Go after them. Every time they come to something like a monopoly, they change the market definition. Because otherwise, when you are considered a monopoly, you cannot be run as a business. Because monopolies mean that you have an unfair advantage of pricing and everything, which is not allowed in markets or in fair markets, let's put it that way. In India, for example, there are natural monopolies. Can you guys name any natural monopolies? Electricity. Is electricity a natural monopoly? Are private people not allowed to set up electric plants? But then it's not a monopoly. Railways, for example, Nobody can operate trains in India privately. Metro and all is this, yes, but actual rail network in India cannot be operated by anyone else. It's a natural monopoly that is there to make sure that it is protected for whatever reason. Right? So there exist natural monopolies in the world, but then for everything else that is created, you would not want yourself to be a monopoly, because if you are, then yeah, everyone will be there to get you. So none of you are looking at the monopoly, but still the idea is that you need to look at what a market means to you guys, and maybe you need to broaden your horizon of what a market definition is. You might think that, okay, I am looking at this as my competition to do this one thing. What you're looking at is right, but maybe the comparison that you're looking at is not necessarily that right. So exercise to think about when you're thinking about your product, what market you're operating in, who you're going up against, etc. Right? This is the other way to look at competition, right? What other choices does your customer have? If you apply this to the Netflix question, yeah, they can sleep. I don't need to watch a movie. I choose to come for entertainment, sure, I have all of these options. But then even if I don't want entertainment, I might just something, like Netflix is now getting into games. Right? At that point, you should say their competition is, I don't know, the PS5 or whatever else, right? Again, what choice does that person or those people have instead of doing what you are offering them? Is a very broad way of looking at competition, which is in Amazon's case, you're looking a little skeptical. Simple, I don't need to open up my browser. I can go to my nearest Walmart and get something. So I have the choice. The fact that I'm not doing, simple, Swiggy. Swiggy's choice is that you going to restaurants, Swiggy's competition is you going to restaurants. They can't stop you from going to restaurants. But that is the competition. But what do they offer? They offer convenience. Why do you want to waste your time going in traffic and this and that, when happily somebody will come and drop it to you home? Right? That's part of their value proposition. So, how many of you guys have seen this? Yeah. So, for those of you who have seen it, it should be straightforward. There are 5. Any of you want to explain it? Whoever has seen it? No? Okay. So, whenever you're trying to get into a new market, essentially, there are 5 threatening forces broadly. One is threat of, or in any existing marketplace, there are 5 broad threats. One, there is a threat of new entrants, which is anyone can come in new and try and usurp what you're doing as an established practice. That is always there, which is why all of you are even in this room. Right? A bunch of you are trying to challenge status quo in a few things. A bunch of you are trying to do something new that people are not knowing or are trying to think in a different way, etc. The degree of rivalry that exists, if there are too many mature players in a market who are only fighting for marginal gains, it is inherently a difficult market. Right? The threat of substitutes, which is if someone wants to come today and start a streaming service, very difficult to, unless you have something extremely novel, very, very difficult for you to come into that space. Right? There would be no point because it's available wherever, so it would be super difficult. And then the bargaining powers of both the buyers and the suppliers. If you, again, let's take streaming service. If you want to come into a streaming service, if most people say between Prime and Netflix or whatever, price it between 150 rupees a month and 600 rupees a month broadly, right? At the lower and the higher end. You come in with something for 1500 rupees, you're not going to be successful because there's already some sort of a price band established for what people are willing to pay for it. And so there is too much of bargaining power of the buyers there. Which is they say, yeah, it's okay. You're not giving me something that is substantially worth 1500 rupees a month. So let me just keep what I have. Don't worry about it. Similarly, the bargaining power of suppliers, which is if you want to start a streaming service, you still have to go to all the studios and license content from them. And they will say, yeah, this is my cost, take it or leave it. Amazon is paying me this already, Hotstar is paying me this already, whatever, Netflix is paying me this already, take it or leave it. So they have bargaining powers there. Similarly, when you say, when you are an upstart into, say, you want to make a car, super difficult, right? But if you go into something like that, and you go and ask the OEMs who are making things for, I don't know, your at scale for your Marutis and your Toyotas and the whatnot, they're going to say, yes, this is how much it is going to cost. We have that supply chain. You cannot build the supply chain yourself. It is just not possible, given the resources that you have. So you don't have much power to bargain. But if you're offering something that is novel enough, you potentially have very less bargaining power of the buyers, because they don't have a choice there. So that goes into how you want to price your products, etc. Right? So it is a combination of all of these which determine market conditions. Make sense? Questions? All right. So finally, after all of that, coming to what exactly is a business plan, right?
Other than these policies are also there, no? Suppose plastic case, government suddenly brings in policy.
Yes. That case also meaning? Sorry, I didn't get it.
That case also, our business is, we are losing some business.
I do not understand, sorry. Can you repeat the question?
Suppose in case of sustainability, suppose the government is taking some policy decisions.
Right.
In that case, suppose we are into some hazardous business.
Right.
For example, pet coke was one of the product which was imported in India. And even people are using for an energy like thing, but it was banned that thing. So
Right.
everybody is in the market.
Right.
So that is also one.
Correct, but those are regulatory things that are outside of your control, that are outside of anyone's control. How many of you own stock in ITC? What is ITC most known for? Hotels, hospitality. Products, what products? Biscuits, tobacco, cigarettes. Amazing. My dad used to work in ITC. He'd be very happy to know that answer number 5 was tobacco. Very good. ITC has done their job. No. ITC has 60% from non-tobacco revenue, 95% in profits from tobacco. Which means every single budget, you will see people dumping their ITC shares before the budget. Because the easiest way for government to make money is to increase excise duty on tobacco. If that happens, ITC's share price will tank. The fact that they understood this and started diversifying to make sure that they did is a long journey. And it's good that most people here don't seem to think tobacco. It is fantastic. But the point is that things like that are outside of anyone's control. You have to take into account environmental conditions to decide whether you can even get into something. In fact, some competitive advantage may be because of environmental conditions. And you might get a fillip because of it. Like if the government bans single-use plastics and you are doing, I don't know, bio-based whatever, right? If you know that such a policy change is coming, or you know that it is in the horizon, you ensure that you change your, whatever your product line to support more of that. But that has nothing to do with other people here in this ecosystem, which is outside of the control of everyone. But you're absolutely right in that there are environmental factors that also need to be taken into consideration. By environment, I don't mean the actual environment, I mean the fiduciary environment, or it could just be plain illegal to do a lot of things. Like, I think crypto was shut down very quickly because RBI decided, no, you will not do it. Feel free to do whatever you want outside the country. In India, you cannot. That's it. And there ended that thing. Sure, they find ways to get around it and all that, but then it's always a gray area. Which means that people now, it's on them. Risk is on them. So something like that. Cool. Any other questions? All right. So comes to what is a business plan, right? The business plan is basically a document that defines in detail company's objective and how it plans to achieve its goals. At the broad line, that is all it is, right? It lays out a written roadmap for the firm from marketing, finance, operational standpoints, and essentially everyone needs a business plan. Because the more condensed version of this is how are you going to make money. That is the TLDR version of a business plan, right? Yeah, this is a good one. Okay, most business plans for most small companies are these. You do make up numbers because you want to project things that you don't know, but that you would hope. Some of it might work, some of it might not work, but that's the whole point of starting up. which is you make educated guesses and people try and validate those educated guesses, give you the money or the resources to do what you do, and we will see where it goes, right? So, which brings us to the final part of this, which is the business model canvas. So, this is basically the business model canvas. It at some level is just a combination of everything that we were speaking about for the last 45 minutes, right? Free resource available everywhere. I don't know if you guys have a printout of it, but just Google business model canvas, nothing proprietary in this. There are many ways in which you will see this. There are even online tools where you can put each of these individual sections and then you will get all of it. But the idea is this, right, which is on the left you have key partners, activities and resources. That is how you are going to do certain things, how you are going to do what you have to do. The value proposition is what it is. What is it that you are conveying of what you are doing? The right hand side is how you are going to sell it. The customers, how you are going to sell it to, how, which is the relationships, the channels, and then the customer segments, for example, who you are going after, etc. And down is, it's literally like a ledger. Debits, credits. This part of it is literally like your passbook at the simplest way. And that's it. You fill all of these things in with respect to your business, and what this gives you is a framework of where you need to even be looking at. For example, if you find that you have no key partners, or the key partners that you've identified, you don't have relationships with them, it will say focus on that. You say, okay, I have built my product, I know how to, I have built a prototype, but I know how to scale this. I don't know how to communicate the value to the customer. You focus on the middle part of it. What is the value that you're trying to drive for the customers? If you know that part of it also, and say, okay, I don't know how to reach these customers, then you figure out that part of it. Some of it you might decide that, there's no point in me going direct to customers. The right thing is that I should probably go through partners. So focus on the customer relationships or the channels. In channels, there will be direct to customer, there will be B2B, there will be probably distribution channels like distributors or wholesale dealers or whatever it might be. Focus on that. So the idea is to list all of this down first. Whatever works for you, highlighting in red, whatever works for you, to say, okay, this is where I see the gaps, this is where I know the gaps are, and then working on them. So this is not an answer, but this at least gives you a framework of where you need to focus to do what you need to do. Does that make sense? Any questions? And of course, the last thing is the cost structure, like you might have all of that figured out, but your cost structure might be in red. And that typically happens for, say, initial hardware startups that haven't scaled, right? Because you're doing things at pilot scales and it's going to cost you a lot of money. So you might not have any margins left to play with. So your entire pitch should be, yes, but I will go and establish product market fit, after which I will get better manufacturing contracts from, however I'm manufacturing, and I will make up the money over time. That goes into your projections and, your business plan, etc. All right, that pretty much was all I had. Do you guys have any questions for me? Otherwise, I think we're good. Yes.
Business model canvas will evolve, no? I know that
Yes,
it will evolve.
that is correct.
My question is whether it merely depend on where we are in the growth or is it based on to whom we are pitching?
No. This is an internal facing document. This is not an external facing document. This is completely and purely internal. This is for you to understand where your business is at, and to take the takeaways of, given where I identify my reds, what am I going to do about it? So this is not a customer facing thing at all. But like you said, your business model canvas for the next 12 months might look very different for the next 36 months or the 36 months after. Because after 12 months, you would be in a much, for example, if you're just starting off and say, I don't have a manufacturing partner today. In 12 months, you actually might have it, which means your area of concern might be something else. Or you might say that, yeah, I've got all that, but then after 12 months is when, today I know that I have 4 pilot customers who have already committed to doing things with me. I will go only with them for the first 1 year. which means my entire concern is about how am I going to deliver my services? How do I get more key partners, activities, etc. Because my revenue is taken care of for 1 year, because somebody has already pledged, I already have money for it. But in the next year, it is all about, okay, now I have this part of it done, which is I know how to deliver. How do I scale? Which means you focus on marketing, value propositions, etc., etc. And once you're in a good enough place, then you say, how do I optimize cost? Things like that. So it depends on the stage of your journey. But it is always an internal facing document. Any other questions? No. What is your value proposition? What do you do? So mechanical? Mechanical testing, checking the strength of the material and other properties of the material at a small scale. So what is your value proposition?
So we do save material time and time for customers, and again it is also like a modular thing. So modular, like if people want to do different experiments, they have to buy different machines. But with us, like it is coming in one machine, and like you can change few things and make it do the other testing.
So again, what is your value proposition? What are you helping the customer save or do? Time and cost. Okay. So you're essentially giving convenience.
Yes.
Right? Are you getting them or allowing them to do something they can't do today?
No, it's not like that they can't do today.
They can do it.
Yeah.
So are you, so this is how I look at when I'm building product, right? You always have to define two things. Which one you're going after. There is a run and then there is a run better.
Okay.
Some products are 0 to 1 or product services, whatever, which is I am letting you run. Which is you can't do something, I am enabling you to do something. For example, I don't know, you want to cook. You have a gas stove, you don't have a pan. You need to buy a pan first to cook. The fact that I am, after you've started cooking for like 2 months, 3 months and you're okay with it or whatever, now I'm going to say, now why don't you buy a non-stick pan or something like that. It's not that you can't cook with what you have. I'm helping you cook better by allowing you to do less cleaning, this, that, whatever it is. Even without this non-stick thing, you can still cook, which is you're still running. What I'm enabling you to do is run better. Similarly, in your thing, somebody can still do what they are doing today by having to buy this machine and this and this and this. Maybe all of them are not even available in one place. They have to go to 1, 2, 3, 4 things. Sure. So what you're offering them is convenience, which the outcome of which is saving time and money. So that's your value proposition, which is don't go to 10 different places, come to me. I will do what needs to be done, which is, I don't know your business enough to know whether is this a machine that actually is, are they buying the machine as opposed to are they buying the service of the machine. I don't know, you can talk about it later, but the point is, if you're giving the machine itself, that's a different sell altogether. Say, machine is there, machine is set up, all we need is one operator, we'll train them for a day, how to change modes, how to do this. You keep it with you, lifetime of however much you want to use it, feel free to use it. That's a product sell. Over time, your services sell could be enabling more and more. It's like unlocking things, right? That could be your sell. Versus if you're saying, we have this machine, we will act like the lab for you, which is you are outsourcing that part of your business. Then that's your value proposition, which is don't do this in-house or don't buy expensive machinery to do this because this is a one-off thing for you in the larger project that you're doing. And this is not an everyday type thing. You need to do it once at the start or something, etc. Don't do capital expenditure on your end. Don't go to 5 different people. Come to me. So the value proposition that you're offering there is that. you cannot decouple it with the product because the value is provided by your product, but the fact is that you are using your product to provide the value. It doesn't take away from the fact that if you don't have the product, you can't deliver the value. Make sense?
Yeah, makes sense.
Questions? Others?
So what is the difference of customer relationships and the channels?
A channel could be anything. So customer relationships are literally what relationships you have with your customers, existing customers. Channels are how you get them. For example, what are Apple's channels of customer acquisition?
Channels, marketplace.
How do you buy an iPhone?
So in Amazon and Flipkart
Amazon,
and their
Flipkart,
Apple stores is
There
there.
are Apple stores,
And even small stores also is there,
small
right?
stores.
So they are the channels, I think.
Right. So the distribution channels are basically, if you look at it at an Uber level, online, offline. In online, they have marketplaces. They have apple.com.
Right.
These are distribution channels. Offline, they have again their Apple stores. They have their first party Apple stores, which have just opened in your Bombay and Delhi and all. Then they have what you have in TTK right now, Imagine and all, which were premium resellers as they call them. And then you have your Purvikas and your whatevers of the world.
Small.
All of these are sales channels for Apple. These are not necessarily customer channels. How do you know about the product? They advertise. They advertise on TVs when you're watching programs. They advertise on subscription services. They advertise on Twitter. They advertise wherever. So you have digital advertising. And then you have physical advertising, which is you see Apple hoardings. In Madras, you don't see too much, but you see hoardings. So that's another way of getting to the customer. So
Okay.
Channel is not just how you are selling things. It's also how you are getting to the customer.
Okay. So the customer relationship is like how I can get the customers to my channels.
No, the customer relationship is existing customer relationships, the ones that you have already built. If you are a customer of mine, what am I doing with you? Maintaining, growing.
Okay.
So there's something called a lifetime value. If you buy one product from me, you are okay. Let's take. Let's take you're an Apple customer. You just bought your first iPhone.
Okay.
Your value to Apple right now is how much you paid for your iPhone, say 70,000 rupees.
Okay.
But your lifetime value to Apple, the way that they compute it, would be that they are betting on the fact that they will upsell 3-4 things to you, which means over the value of your life, customer lifetime value. They expect, let's say even if you don't buy a single product from them, single other AirPod or this thing,
Wearable products.
every 3 years, for example, you change your phone. So your lifetime, they will say your life expectancy is another, if you're 25 years old, your life expectancy is another 50 years. Which means 3 times or another 10 to 15 times you will buy phones.
Right.
That is your lifetime value today, discounted over time and the whatnot. So there is a lifetime value which essentially should only go higher when you have allied services that you're trying to sell. But if you are a single product, single type license provider, then your lifetime value is is the equivalent of what you sold one time. Which is why if you see a majority of all of software today, they're all moving into subscription services.
Right.
Right? So that you are able to essentially monetize that customer over time and keep getting them to come back.
Got it.
Make sense?
Yeah, got
Question? Yeah, ask question.
With regard to customer channels, can word of mouth also is technically a customer channel,
Yes,
right? So one more thing is, in certain cases, like the distribution channels can themselves also act as customer channels, right? Let's say I need a phone, I just go to Purvika and I ask that whoever the person there, like, recommend me a phone, now they'll be like, buy Apple means, then they also will become a customer channel, right?
Correct.
Or, no, I'm just asking for clarification.
Yes, but the problem is you don't own that data. You don't know. If you go to Purvika and ask for an iPhone, thank you. The fact that that guy asked for a phone and the fact that that guy gave you an iPhone, Apple does not know.
Okay.
It can only gauge demand as a lag indicator, which is by the sales.
Okay.
as opposed to something like advertising and marketing, which is a lead indicator. By seeing how many people actually respond to my ads, do enquiries for what I'm trying to do, pre-book things on my site, I can get demand as a lead indicator, as opposed to that, which is after they buy, I know the next shipment to Purvika how much I should do. And that again goes into, see, technically Purvika is a customer of Apple.
Yeah.
So yes, they are also customer relationships.
Okay.
But not the end customer of Purvika.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
So don't look at customer as only the end customer.
Okay.
It is also the customers of your product. Because when Purvika buys from Apple, they pay and they take liability, which means Purvika is a business customer of Apple.
Okay. So what about partnership programs? Like, for example, let's say like influencers or something, they'll have different products which they are
partners.
They'll become partners.
Yes, they will become partners.
But they will also be a channel, customer channel, right?
They could be a marketing channel. They're not a customer
channel. Okay, understood.
They're a marketing channel, yes.